because like I said, like you're exhausted. You must be exhausted, but you're young, so you're fine. Then anyway, like yeah, like I like looked through your quiz that you just sent me. I looked through the previous quizzes, and so like the whole point of doing this test is that way we don't have to go back to anything, and this you doing this test is sufficient preparation, and like execute like from what we talk about here, and I know you will. And number one thing though is careless mistakes, kiddo. Like I'm gonna drive to Westchester and like I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like grab you and scream. No, I'm kidding. No, I was gonna pull my hair out. Like looking at your last quiz. The only thing is that like I don't have hair. But what is it? You did well, right? Like so, I'm not unhappy with like your performance. Like overall, like it's like you know how to do the hard things well, but the careless mistakes. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, like the last quiz. So that's the first place that I want to look is like I want to look over your last quiz and you're just gonna tell me the one that you sent me today. And yeah, thank you. You sent it like at a good time, 42 after. Huh. Like sorry, 42 is my favorite number. Thank you. Anyway, sorry. So what about your quiz was I like am I throwing fits about? Like, well, hold on. Sorry, so open that up. One, go ahead. Nuh-uh, that's okay. We'll talk about the careless mistakes on this one, but I'm talking about quiz 1.4 through 1.5. 9. I'll do problem 9 with you right now real quick. So the question was 3x squared minus 12x plus 21 equals 0. So GCF. So take out the greatest common factor. All three numbers can have a 3 out of them. So you get 3 times x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. And so then divide by 3 on both sides and show that you divided by 3 by writing it like this. And obviously on the right side, 0 divided by 3 is still 3. So you have x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. From here, she said complete the square. So actually, let's do this one together. So from here, how do I complete the square? Great. Sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to applaud that. That's the most crucial step. Isolate the constant. Take the constant to the other side. So you do that. Fine. Got it. So this equals negative 7. And then? Exactly. Like you're, again, like I said, you're good at the hardest part, which is like completing the square, knowing how to complete the square, meaning that you have to add 4 here and 4 here. That's probably the hardest part in this question. Now, what does this turn into? That's right, Julia, you're like so smart. Like I'm always like happy about like your mastery. Like you're very good, especially given that you did algebra just over summer, like over like 7 weeks. And like so with just that foundation for you to be able to do like as well as you do here or to master it is like amazing. But you're very welcome, kiddo. Small details, small details. I'm gonna stop nagging though. This is it. Okay, now on the right side, plus or minus root negative 3. What does that turn into? Exactly, plus or minus I root 3. Beautiful. So then you finish it. For where to from here? That's right. So you get x equals 2 plus or minus I root 3. Now, I doubt that she's going to give you a question that's going to be more sophisticated than this on completing the square. But you see how like we factored out a 3? Even if they were not all divisible by 3, let's say that this middle number was like, say 8. the first thing you should do is make the leading coefficient 1. That's why she wrote a equals 1, meaning that if the question was like, 3x squared minus 8x plus 21 equals 0, the first thing you should do is divide everything by 3, both on the left side and on the right side. So then that way it will start with 1x squared, and then you can complete the square, because even if the middle term, the coefficient in the middle term is a fraction, I saw from your mock test that you know how to do that well, which is you know how to complete the square well, even when the middle term isn't so convenient. So I trust that you will be able to succeed on that. But the first thing you should always do if the leading coefficient is not 1 is divide everything by the leading coefficient, both on the left side and the right side, make it say 1. And then isolate this constant, meaning move it to the other side. From there, move forward exactly as you've done in this problem that we just did. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. Excellent. Now, on the last part, read the question real quick for both of us. 11.
Quadratic equation, and when I was looking at this, I think I just read the question wrong.
It's okay. Go ahead.
But my answer is obviously like having to like if you need any help, so
Yeah.
I read the question, but it doesn't see what's that.
Okay, it's okay. So what you wrote was correct, and like the discriminant, and you're actually very good at the discriminant. So the discriminant does help you identify the number of solutions and whether they're real or imaginary, right? That's correct, and she acknowledged that. Now, I think what she was looking for is this. Like, what happens when the discriminant b squared minus 4ac, when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, what happens?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. So when the discriminant b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, what does that say about the solutions?
Isn't that too complex?
That's right. So what that means is the graphing method isn't going to help you, because if they're complex solutions, what we said is the quadratic will be completely above the x-axis or completely below the x-axis. Now, granted, that graphing is not going to be on your quiz. I'm not going to dwell on this, but I want to briefly mention it, which is that the discriminant being less than 0, as you said, means you have imaginary solutions. But then since, as you know, the solutions to a quadratic are where it hits the x-axis. If you have imaginary solutions, the quadratic will not hit the x-axis. It will be either entirely above the x-axis or entirely below the x-axis. Obviously, if it's going to be below, the leading coefficient is going to be negative, yada yada. But the whole point is that it will not cross the x-axis, and therefore you would know not to use the graphing method because, well, you won't be able to say where it crosses the x-axis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I think we have efficiently just went over the quiz. I said we weren't going to go back to anything, just the mock test will suffice. I just want to hit on these notes, but I am done now. We don't need to go back to anything else. Now, what I'd like you to do is open up your work on the mock test, what you just sent me, and I looked through all of it, and so that will help us make this session a lot more efficient. And again, on the most important, hardest parts, like I'm very, very happy about like the work that you just did. And I'm not just very happy, like very proud of you. Like shows like what you're capable of. But small details, you're very welcome, kiddo, sorry. But small details again. Now, first off, on the very first problem, I to the first is I. So you wrote them down. I'm very happy about that you wrote the cycles, the 4 cycles, but this is how the cycles go. They go I, and then -1, and then -I, and then 1. So the 1 should be at the end. So 1 is like for things like I to the 4, or I to the 8, or I to the 12. What do all these have in common? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I just summarized it in that order because for some reason she decided to start from I to 0, so I keep memorizing in that order.
It's okay. Don't worry. So that I get it. I get that. I totally get that. Now, can you see what I wrote? In red on the right?
No, I see your point now. I don't see.
Okay, you see my pointer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like because you haven't collapsed these things over here. It's okay. I will write more in the middle. So what I was saying is this, right? Like so, like you can see this now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the order is I -1, -I, and then 1. So I to the 0. That's for 1 at the very end. That's the same as I to the 4. That's the same as I to the 8th. That's the same as I to the 12th. Blah blah blah. What do they all have in common?
Um, they're all divisible.
Exactly, and leave a remainder of 0. So when that's the case, that's 1. And so the order is I, -1, -I, and 1. Make sense?
Yeah.
So how would you adjust your answer to A?
Change it to I.
Exactly, beautiful. And then to B
Um, 1.
and C?
1.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, excellent. I'm very happy. All right, so problem 2. Amazing. That's so important. Knowing this, the result of this is probably the most important thing. And what made me really happy, I was smiles like most of the problems that I thought were difficult. When I saw that you mastered them, I was like smiling the whole time as I was checking. Now, problem 3. Not only did you succeed in problem 3, the first question, which is the harder of the two questions, not only did you succeed, but you also used what you know about multiplying by conjugates. In other words, you knew first to multiply by the conjugate to numerator and denominator. Very well done. And second is that you knew 4 minus 5i times 4 plus 5i gives you 16 plus 25 without any effort. Beautiful. Even better, you corrected your mistake on your quiz and wrote it in standard form, your final answer. And what I'll say about the final answer is, like, just to make it abundantly clear that it's in the form a plus bi, you can write it as -7 over 41, sorry. That's not 14, over 41. And then plus, you could go 22 over 41 and let the I chill on the side. It's correct to have it in the numerator with the 22, but you could write it on the side so that it's abundantly clear it's in the form a plus bi. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, the easier of the two problems, you made a careless mistake on this one. And so let's do this one. And I know you know how to do it. So 3 minus 4i. I think you're rushing and eager to finish, understandably, like you've had a very long day. And but anyway, this is the easiest question on this page. So talk to me, like this is harder, like part C of 1. Anyway, talk to me about how to FOIL this correctly.
So you would start by doing 3 times 3.
Uh-huh. 9.
And then 3 times -4i, then -12i.
Uh-huh.
And then you just do 3 times 3 again.
The FOIL.
No, it would be then another -12i.
There you go.
And then positive 16i squared, which turns into -6.
There you go. There you go. It's like, I know you know these things. That's why when you don't get 100, I like throw fits. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Because I didn't help on this problem. You finished it. So then it all reduces to -7 minus 24i. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right. Second page right here. So I have nothing to say. You did a great job, both here and here. Excellent. And on these two also. Now on this one, what's the imaginary part? Just so I hear it verbally also.
The imaginary part of 5.
5a, yeah, the first one.
So -13i.
Just -13.
Oh, so it doesn't include that.
Yeah, exactly. In the a plus bi, only the b is the imaginary part.
Okay.
Okay, and then what about on 7? What's the imaginary part?
which is 0.
Yes, because it's 7 plus 0i. So the imaginary part is 0. Excellent. Okay. So on the next part, I wish I had your uploaded your paper instead of a blank version. But anyway, like you did very well. Like there's nothing wrong with your solution. I only have two minor comments. One is once you've group factored, you have 2x times x plus 1, and then have a plus sign here. You wrote the 1, which is great, beautiful. You knew to factor out a 1 from the second group, and you know how to finish the job like all the way. But write this plus sign there. I don't think your teacher is going to take off, but do it anyway. And so that's my only comment. And also, there are no extraneous solutions because the only time you have extraneous solutions is when you have like rational expressions, when you're solving equations that have denominators, or when you're solving square root equations, which are like radical equations. That's the only time you have to worry about extraneous solutions. Fair?
Could you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. So, like, first, like, sorry, on the factoring part, just write a plus sign right there, and then on the extraneous solution, quadratics don't have extraneous solutions. The only equations that have extraneous solutions are rational equations like this, like when you have denominators and with variables. That's the only time you need to check for extraneous solutions, and when you have radical equations. So something like this, the inside cannot be negative. In this case, the denominator cannot be 0. Those are the only times you have extraneous solutions. Fair?
Okay.
Okay. Now, on part B of 6, you did very well again. I have only one minor comment. So you wrote 4x times x plus 5 equals 0. Correct. And then from there, you said x equals negative 5. That's also correct. But you need to also set 4x equals 0. From 4x equals 0, I get x equals what?
0.
Exactly. So there are two solutions, negative 5 and 0.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And then let's move on to the next one. All right, so on this problem, no worries. But so on your first step, I was very happy that you like knew to move everything to the left side. But check this out, kiddo. Again, careless mistake. X squared minus 17x. When I move the 3 to the left, it becomes negative 3x. And then when I move the 5 to the left, it turns the 45 into a 50, which you got. You did that correctly. But these two, you combine into a negative 14 when they should have combined to a negative 20. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but otherwise, so it should have been negative 20x in the middle instead of a negative 14x. But otherwise, I was actually happy with by accidentally writing negative 14x on how you finished the job. So if the question was like exactly what you thought it was in the middle, it was negative 14, the work you did made me proud. It was like really, really good work. Yeah? You're very welcome. So I'm not gonna talk more because like it's obvious you got it. Okay, and then problem 7, A, like very, very happy with you. Can't be happier. Like you divided both sides by 3 or factored out a 3 first and then divided both sides by 3. And that's kind of like you're kind of showing off a little bit and skipping that step, but that's okay. I'll take that. And then on this problem, like yep, again, flawless job. Like I was very, very happy. Like you moved the 9 to the left, so it turned the 13 into a 4, and then you factored out a 4, and divided both sides by that 4 you factored out, and so you had 4x squared plus 4 equals 0. Just because you skipped the detail, like I just want to be abundantly clear that this is what you were thinking in your head, and so you did this, and then from here you got x squared plus 1 equals 0, and I was very proud of the rest of your work. You wrote x equals plus or minus I, and that's correct. Great. And on the next one, on this one, again, equally flawless job. Your answer was awesome. You didn't forget your plus or minus. Very happy. On the next one, I was very happy with this one also. The only thing is that you had gotten to x minus 3 equals, don't forget your plus or minus, so it should be plus or minus 3i. And then thereafter, you add 3 to both sides, so you should get x equals 3 plus or minus 3i. So you had 3i plus 3. Well, it should be plus or minus, not just plus. And also you should lead with the pure number that doesn't have an imaginary part. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can move on to the next page. Hmm. Yep. Okay, so that's right. Like, so on this, like, very, very happy on both of these. So you knew it was plus 16, so the double question mark should be replaced with plus 16 to complete the square. And even happier on this question. So very, very well done. Excellent. Um, sorry. So then on the next part, first of all, you did a masterful work on this one, which is the much harder problem. 9 part B, if we call it part B. But on part A, like the first thing you should do is, you did very well on the big picture. But the first thing you should do is move the 10 to the other side. So we'll say negative 10. And then otherwise, you knew to add 16 here. So add 16, add 16. So that would get you on the left, as you correctly wrote, x minus 4 squared. On the right, you'd get negative 10 plus 16 is, my bad, that's not 4, that's 6. And so then you get x minus 4 equals, don't forget your plus or minus. I know you know, I'm just being annoying. So then x equals, sorry, x equals 4 plus or minus root 6. And so that's that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You got there. You did it correctly. So I don't even know. Yeah, I guess you didn't do anything wrong. I guess like you skipped a step, and that's why I'm like nagging. Okay, cool. All right, we're making good progress. Good time. And like, all right. Sorry. Um, Okay, on this one, so I said solve by using the quadratic formula. Yep, again, masterful work. Like, very, very happy with your work. You wrote this, and like you have a way of canceling like this. The only thing I would do is like show explicitly what happened. Yes, your final answer after you canceled is correct. But take out the common factor from the numerator, which is a 2, and write it like this. 2 times 1 plus or minus 1i, which is like that, over 2, and then cancel the 2's like that. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's my only comment. Um, like on the discriminant problem, which is problem 11, I don't have any comment. Well, I do. I have one. Like, you did, all of the answers are correct. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Only on this one, you rushed, which is b squared would be 49. That's negative 7 squared. And then minus, remember, it has a minus 4ac. Minus 4 times a is 2, but c is negative 4. So meaning that it's going to be 49 plus 32, not minus 32. And in the end, it didn't have an impact on your final answer, but that extra negative from the negative 4 makes the difference. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so small details again. No worries. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. What page am I on? From your email. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're on page 6. Yes, page 6. Sorry. I'm like looking on my phone at like your stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel free to be like, duh. Like, how else are you doing? No, sorry. I like told a third grader duh in school, like when I was teaching a third grade group, and I got in trouble for saying duh. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it in fourth grade. We had these they paired up all the fourth graders with like a kindergarten, like they called it a kindergarten buddy.
Yeah.
We paired with kindergarten, and I'll never forget. But I was in fourth grade, and I've been stupid in front of the kindergartner, and they were back to the kindergarten. I was like, can you even know what to say to the kids?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, at least you're a kid. I probably should have been like a little less like a little more subtle. But like what the kid said was like so obvious. I was like I had to say it anyway. So this question, like I'm just writing like you did well. Like there's nothing I could add to it. Like in the end, after you skipped a step, which is a little bit of showing off, but it's okay. Like I'm fine with it. So x squared equals 9. So call back your u. It's obvious that you knew that because your final answer reflects that you knew that. But then x equals plus or minus root 9, which is plus or minus 3, as you correctly wrote. And x equals plus or minus root 4, which is plus or minus 2. Excellent job. Now, on the next one, it's perfectly fine. And only do this, kiddo, on this kind of a problem when it's x to the 6th. She's not going to give you anything more than that. Like, this was the hardest type that was on your worksheet that we looked at yesterday. So, like this is as hard as it's going to get. But, like, make your substitution with u equals x cubed. I was very happy with that. But after you did that, this is how you should proceed on it. And sorry, hold on, let me move this. Let me delete the writing, my bad. This is the only question I'm gonna dwell on. It's like those sum of cubes and difference of cubes, but like I don't think they're gonna be on your quiz because they weren't on any of your quizzes, but like they're on this unit. And as a paranoid person, as you know me, I want to make sure that like we cover all our bases and beyond that. Anyway, like again, your u equals x cubed. Very well done, excellent. And then like, so that would turn the x to the 6 plus 3x cubed minus 4, which is quadratic form. It will turn it into u cubed plus 3u, not u cubed. What should it be? If u is x cubed, what is x to the 6 going to be? Yeah, no worries. It's okay, it's okay. So you have u squared plus 3u minus 4 equals 0. And now on the left factor, because I know you know how to factor it. So factor it on the left. What does it turn into? No, 12b. So you did well with u equals x cubed. That turned it into that turned this here into what we wrote: u squared plus 3u minus 4. Now, how does that factor?
U minus 1, u plus 4.
Yes, u minus 1, and then u plus 4. That's right. Equals 0. Great. But then now call back what u is. So only do this like so earlier. Like you finished the x to the 4th one. You did a masterful work. Just do exactly what you did on a similar problem. On this one, when it's x to the 6 like this, and it turns into a quadratic with the u substitution, the next thing you should do once you factored like this is bring back the x. So then if we bring back the x, what does this turn into? What I underlined.
Well, would you have to square your answer?
Like, what is u?
X to the 3rd.
Yes, so do that. Bring it back. So it would be x to the 3rd minus 1, and then x to the 3rd plus 4 equals 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, you don't have to do this for the x to the 4th. Do exactly what you had done. I'm intentionally repeating myself. But on this one, when it's x to the 6th, bring it back like this. Now, remember, x to the 3rd plus 27 is a sum of cubes. It's of the form a cubed plus b cubed, where a is x and b is 3, because 27 is 3 cubed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but x cubed plus 4 is not of that form. Why? It's okay. I'll give you a hint. On this one, it's not sum of cubes, x cubed minus 1, but it's difference of cubes. It's of the form a cubed minus b cubed. It's of the form a cubed minus b cubed. A is x and b is 1, because 1 cubed is 1. So then, why is x cubed plus 4 not of the form a cubed plus b cubed?
Right.
Why is it not? It's okay, because 4 is not a perfect cube.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can't do the a cubed plus b cubed. Remember, a cubed plus b cubed is what again? B to the 3rd. How does it factor? Times a squared minus ab. That's right. And remember, this part can never be factored. So you have to use the quadratic formula on this part if it were factorable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, but x cubed plus 4 is not factorable. So the only thing you could do is write x cubed plus 4 equals 0, from which you get x cubed equals negative 4. and then you get x equals the cube root of negative 4. And the cube root of negative 4 is, well, you can take out the negative. Unlike square root, it's not going to lead into I, right? Because it's cube root. But again, the point is x cubed plus 4 is not of the form a cubed plus b cubed. So the only thing you could do is use the square root property, what your teacher calls the square root property, which is move the constant to the other side and cube root both sides. But on x cubed minus 1, you can use difference of cubes, which is a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So using that, how does x cubed minus 1 factor? X minus 1. It's okay. Very beautiful. Yes. Excellent. So awesome. Awesome. So now from this, of course, you get x equals 1. And then this part, just like this part, cannot be factored. And therefore, you have to use the quadratic formula. And it's always going to give two complex solutions. I'll circle it in green. This is always going to give two complex solutions that are conjugates. So use a quadratic formula, plug it in. I know you know how to do that. And then say what those two are. So there are a total of 4 answers. One, from the x cubed plus 4, you get x equals cube root of negative 4. And then from this other part, from the x cubed minus 1, you get x equals 1. And then the two complex solutions that come from x squared plus x plus 1, which you're going to get from plugging it into the quadratic formula. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so this is the question that was always bound to take the bulk of our problem, our time, and that's okay. We'll be able to move efficiently through the rest of them. So, all right. So on the next one, I'll just talk through it. So these two actually I borrowed from your worksheets just to make sure like we know how to do them. So as always, just get it to one side. You knew how to do that on this one, so do it on this side also. Anytime you're solving an equation, a quadratic, a cubic, a quartic, a quintic, a sixth degree, it all needs to be on one side. So then the first move should be 4x squared minus 12x, 4x to the 4 minus 12, 4x to the 4 minus 12x squared equals 0. So this is where your teacher is like, isolate before whatever, you take square root or whatever. Anyway, now you can take out a 4x squared from both sides, from both terms. And when you do, the first term is going to turn into x squared, and then the second term is going to turn into minus 3 equals 0, from which you get 4x squared equals 0, or you get x cubed minus, x squared minus 3 equals 0. 4x squared equals 0 is just going to give you x equals 0. You divide both sides by 4, and then take the square root of both sides, it's the square root of 0. And then from this one, you're going to get x squared equals 3. Take the square root of both sides, so you're going to get x equals plus or minus root 3. So there are 3 answers. Positive root 3, negative root 3, and 0. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, and on this one, just group factor. You had the right first move. So 2x cubed, and then plus 3x squared. I'm only going to get it started because I know you know how to do these problems. Minus 12 equals 0. The only tool we have, and that you've been taught so far in your class, is grouping. So just group factor. From the first two, you can take out an x squared, looks like. So you're going to get x squared times 2x plus 3. From the second two, you can take out a negative 4. And when you do, you're going to get... when you take out a negative 4, you're going to get 2x and then plus 3 equals 0. Obviously, 2x plus 3 is a common factor and needed to be, and that's actually a way for you to check your work. Don't forget your difference of squares, x plus 2x minus 2, which I know you're not going to forget because you already did that on a previous problem and succeeded, but I'm just being a nag. Okay, so you get 3 answers, positive 2, negative 2, and from the x squared minus 4. And then x equals negative 3 halves from 2x plus 3 equals 0. Fair? Yeah. Okay, cool. So next one. So now we're on page 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 7. What is this? Yep, so, okay. So, first question. Very well done. I have no comment. This is the kind of question where you need to sorry, where you need to check for extraneous solutions in the end, but x equals 8 is not an extraneous solution. It doesn't turn the inside into a negative, so you're all good. Now on this one, like you had the first move as like a great move. So you have square root of x minus 2 equals, and then it's 1 minus the square root of x minus 1. Where do you go from there? Huh? Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, the correct thing is square both sides. And so on the left, as you correctly wrote, you get x minus 2. On the right, well, we need to FOIL 1 minus root x minus 1 times itself. 1 minus root x minus 1. So let's do this carefully together. Talk to me.
So it would be 1 and then minus 2 times, or 2 times the square root of x minus 1.
Mm-hmm. And then? Plus x minus 1, because you're using a minus b times a minus b, which is a minus b squared, is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So the 1 times 1 is how you got this, and the minus 2ab is how you got the minus 2 times root x minus 1, and then you need the b squared at the end. That's the root x minus 1 squared. Make sense? Yeah, if you need to love, like, what is it? Like, meticulously, like, draw your arrows and go the FOIL. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about the only thing I'll say. Like, because you had succeeded on this, both in your classwork and on a quiz, I'm not going to talk about it. Or maybe it wasn't on a quiz, but, like, I feel confident that you know how to execute this. Like, well, okay, so maybe I'll write a little bit more. So then the right side is now 1 minus 2 root x minus 1 plus x minus 1. So then, well, on the right side, simplify. So you have 1 and negative 1 at the end, so they cancel. So then you have x minus 2 equals minus 2 root x minus 1 plus x. So the next thing I would have done is subtract x from both sides, because they're like terms. So when you do on the left, you get negative 2 equals negative 2 root x minus 1 on the right, because these two x's are cancelled and these two x's are cancelled upon subtracting x from both sides. Next, divide by negative 2 on both sides. So you get 1 equals root x minus 1. And then square both sides. You get 1 squared is 1 equals x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides, you get x equals 2. Then make sure you plug this back in the original to make sure you don't get extraneous solutions, and you do, because in the original, if we plug in x equal, well, actually you don't. Because if you plug in, you get, in the square root of x minus 2, you get 2 minus 2 square root of 0. Square root of 0 is allowed. Just square root of negative is not allowed, so it's not actually an extraneous solution. You keep it. But the point is, check for extraneous solutions on this part. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, this question on 15 part A, you did a very good job. I'm very happy. Excellent. Just do exactly as you did there. On B, I'm very happy about, like, most of your work. The only grudge I have is after you move the 27 to the right side, so you have 3 times x to the 2/3 equals positive 27, the next thing you should do is divide both sides by 3. So before you write x to the 2/3 is the cube root of x squared or whatever, like before you do that, get rid of that 3 in front, so that way you have x to the 2/3 is equal to 9, and from there proceed as you have done in the first part, and I trust you can do that. Now, first of all, did I go too fast when we went over this question, the radical equation? No. Okay, you followed. Good. And now what I just did, like the advice I just gave about dividing by 3 after you move the 27, that makes perfect sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. All right. Like, I think, like, I'm, like, so intense or whatever, that, like, I'm gonna be, like, all up in your, like, ear, like, even when you're, like, sleeping. do you get nightmares of, like, Samir's, like, raspy voice, like, talking to you in your dreams? And no, like, hopefully not. Okay, so these are the 2 questions that you said you didn't know. It's okay, no big deal. I modified one of the questions from your worksheet, like, and the other. So let's skip to the ones you did do. So these two. So the first one, yeah, like you did great. Like you did great on the hard part. So you wrote -7, and again, you're probably like eager to finish, but over 12. So then move a little bit more carefully because after that, this is correct, and you need to write in standard form. But then after that, it's going to be -6/12i, right? Okay, and then the -6/12i is going to be -1/2i, and so just simplify something like 6/12. Don't leave it like that. Simplify it to like what it is. By the way, like I just realized that like telling you hear my voice in your dreams is like kind of very creepy. Like what is it? In 8th grade, my like geography teacher told me that like she called me over like at the start of class and she's like, oh yeah, I had a dream with you in it, and but like the bell had rang, so I didn't get to ask like what it was, like because and then I told my friend who's Iranian like what happened, and he's like, oh, like your teacher had a dream about you, like he made it like seem so creepy that like I thought she was a creep. So hopefully you don't think I'm a creep also. I know you don't, but sorry. But on 19, you bring the 3 to the left, and then you're gonna get this. And after that, after that, use the quadratic formula. So then, what would the quadratic formula say? Like after this? Well, actually, sorry, my bad. My bad for asking and then interrupting. But like you did well. The only thing is like, so you said minus b, which is 1, plus or minus the square root of. The only grudge I have, b squared is 1 squared, which is 1, minus 4 times a is like times 2, and then c is -3. So the c comes with a negative. So what does that mean? Exactly. This middle term is going to be a plus, so it's going to actually end up being the square root of +25. But actually, you like thought it's going to be -23, and you did what would be a harder problem, and you negotiated very well. Yeah. You're very welcome, kiddo. Like I mean, it goes without saying, but like my favorite student for sure. Okay. Anyway, sorry, and you knew that though. But let's talk about 16. So the first thing I would do in 16 is multiply both sides by 2, just to get rid of the denominator. So that means on the left you get 2 times capital T equals m times v plus w. Remember, we're trying to get to w. So the next thing I'm going to do is divide by m on both sides. Fair? Okay, and so then on the left you get 2t over m is equal to v plus w. So then how do I isolate w from there? Yeah, so 2t over m. I feel like you know how to do this question. Maybe you just like wanted to give me like something to do. No, but like you know how to do this. There's nothing hard about this. Again, get rid of the denominator and then proceed exactly as I've done here. Pretty straightforward. Okay, now I don't think like your teacher, although it was on this unit, I don't think there was any place on your quizzes where your teacher did in fact ask you to solve a rational equation like this. It's again me being super paranoid and wanting to cover our bases. But like this too was one of the few questions I borrowed from your worksheets. So it's exactly as a question in your worksheets. So the first thing you should do is factor the denominator on the right side. And invariably it should have the two denominators that are on the left. They should be involved in the factoring on the right. So hold on, sorry, I don't know why I'm writing diagonal. Sorry, hold on. So 1 over x minus 4, and then minus 5 over x plus 2 equals 6 over, and then how does x squared minus 2x minus 8 factor? Yeah, exactly. And you could cheat, which is x plus 2 times x minus 4, which is to say that, like, look at the denominator on the right. If the question is well written, which it will be on your test, they need to be involved, as I was saying. And then now, on the left, get common denominators, which means multiply this by x plus 2 over x plus 2. And so that will look like this. And then multiply this by x minus 4 over x minus 4. Fair? Yeah. Okay, now on the left, you're going to get x plus 2 minus 5 times x minus 4. And then they now have the common denominator, so you could just write over x minus 4 times x plus 2. And then the right side says 6 over x plus 2 times x minus 4. Fine. So then what you should do from here is, since they have the same denominator on the left, you could just ignore the denominators. But that's to say, multiply both sides by x plus 2 times x minus 4. So when you do, well, this part will cancel like that, and same over here, x plus 2 times x minus 4. So the equation will reduce to, well, x plus 2 on the left minus, and then when we distribute the minus 5 to this part, it's going to say minus 5x plus 4, and then on the right side, you just get 6. So that's going to say minus 4x plus 6 equals 6, right?
Yeah.
And then subtract 6 from both sides, so you get minus 4x equals 0, and then, well, divide by negative 4, so you just get x equals 0. Now, these are the only times, other than equations with radicals, this is the only time that you need to check for extraneous solutions. So plug this final answer, x equals 0, into the original to see if it makes the denominator 0, but it doesn't make any of the denominators 0. Now, as I said, given that none of your previous 2 quizzes on this unit, on this chapter, have tested you on this specific idea, we probably could have gotten away with not even doing it, but we did. So let me know if you have any questions on this, but I am, like, at this point, very satisfied about your preparation. So talk to me.
I don't think I have any questions.
All right, cool. All right, so guard against careless mistakes. Don't forget your I squared. Don't forget your plus or minuses. Don't like little things like that. When you foil carefully. But if you do all that, Julia, like, I feel like between your talent and the preparation we just had, you should be able to get an A. Do you feel confident?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Now, before I